That was so special, and you have very bright futures. So thank you very, very much, and come back again. Okay. And now for the chalice lighting. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also to be welcome to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as the gift it is, a reason for rejoicing. Gary Koloski. Please stand, if you like, to sing hymn number 104, When Israel Was in Egypt's Land, 4 verses. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love, spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The responsive reading is 657. It applies to about everything we want to believe and do here at UU, I think. It matters what we believe. We'll read this responsively, 657. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. Thank you, Sophia. Now our matters of joy or sorrow, we invite you to share yours, hoping that as you do, you will know that you are supported and heard. We'll ask that they be brief and personal, not announcements of things in the community. And I'm sure you know my meaning by now. Fred.
Short and personal? Yeah. Hi, I'm Fred. As many of you know, I've been out since Thanksgiving morning. I thought I had a ruptured disc or something wrong with my back, but I've had a CAT scan and MRI and find out that they're normal for a man my age. I was a little insulted by that. But what it is a torn muscle about this wide across my lower back. Takes 6 weeks to heal. And I'm going to say publicly that little filly right there, Ronnie, I want you to know that I've taken you off double secret probation and I've renewed your contract for 2024.
Fred, you forgot we banned you from using the word filly. But you forgot that. It's okay. I'm getting forgetful too. Who else?
Some of you know my dog, Benny, via Zoom, and he's 10 years old and has just gone into a medical crisis. We're still waiting for the results. It may be lymphoma, which is not good at all.
Hope for the best. Who else? Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe. I have a very brief joy. I got a phone call Monday night that I'm being cast in a musical production. It will be my first musical production in over 50 years, so it's quite a joy.
Good for you, Joe. President Falk.
Good morning. My name's Bill Falk. I think most of you know me. I have a number of joys here to share quite quickly. The biggest one is that I'm not in the hospital, so that's a joy all by itself. But I didn't want to forget, I was supposed to speak here 2 weeks ago, and I'm very sorry that I could not be here. But I wanted to publicly thank Pat Burt, who did an admirable job of filling in. Thank you so much. So I'm kind of over one thing, and just very quickly, on the health report, since Fred got up here, my little Philly's not here, I can't imagine. A phrase you never hear, but anyway, I just have a balance issue. So I'm having to use the cane, and this is gonna be for a little while, because my balance is pretty messed up. So, but I'm in balance with you all, and I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad to see you all, and I'm very glad to have the Chen family here this morning. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Well, I'll add the joy of having the Stewart Chamber Orchestra with us this morning. It's just wonderful, and you know the door is always open to you. Thank you for coming back. We always move one for those that we haven't said out loud, and usually we have people we worry about. We move this for them.
And I have a stone here for the lost cell phone.
A collection would be more thoughtful. Only kidding. Thank you. This will serve as a pastoral meditation in the back by Sarah Campbell. Give us the spirit of the child. Give us the spirit of the child. Give us the child who lives within, the child who trusts, the child who imagines, the child who sings, the child who receives without reservation, the child who gives without judgment. Give us a child's eyes, that we may receive the beauty and freshness of this day like a sunrise. Give us a child's ears, that we may hear the music of mythical times. Give us a child's heart, that we may be filled with wonder and delight. Give us a child's faith, that we may be cured of our cynicism. Give us the spirit of the child, who is not afraid to need, who is not afraid to love. Sarah Moores Campbell. Moments of silence. And now, Spirit of Life, 123, we remain seated, we hum it once, we sing it once. 123. now the time of our morning offering. We certainly hope that people experience good things here. And for us to keep on, we need to experience your generosity. And so the morning offering will be received. Do I have two ushers who would just like this honor of receiving the offering? Bless you, my children.
We will be playing a movement from the first Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach suite for solo cello. And it will not be solo, it will be double solo. Okay. Can you hear A, please? We'll set up for rock and roll.
Not knowing this bounty of music was coming, I found a video, and we're going to try and play it off the wall. No audio. I've asked Karina to be prepared to come out and sing this with me. We'll skip it. Okay, there are repairmen coming Tuesday, so we'll hope that things cooperate and work better after that. This is, of course, the season of peace in the air and in the music. We sing "Sleep in Heavenly Peace," all is calm, all is bright. Hallmark cards bring scenes of peaceful villages. I like those balls of village scenes and something white, like for snow inside. You turn them upside down and watch the snow settling. That's as close to snow settling as I want to get. It reminds me of times in our Pocono chalet where the snow meant we could get away with staying away from work a little bit longer. We were snowed in. I can't believe, and I hate to hear, that anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are around and getting stronger. Why aren't more prominent people with huge mics and huge followings screaming or just repeating calmly, "These hatreds don't do any good. They just hurt innocent people. And they go on like cancers in our humanity." How can any action by the nation of Israel justify anti-Semitism anywhere? It doesn't. It just occasions it. It was there waiting for a non-excuse. Okay, you can't reason with irrational acts, but if thinking doesn't do any good, we are lost. So put on our stones, they believed in thinking. Ditto with Muslims. I always believed we should listen to people who believe differently. I think it was about 1975, I got a leader from a local Islamic council on Long Island to come and lecture about Islam and do Q&A. He was born in India and born Muslim. So he talked about the challenges of living as a Muslim minority amidst a huge Hindu majority. He convinced me that Islam was a religion of peace, regardless of the history we had been taught. You know, Islam spread with the sword, by the sword. That was Dark Ages and medieval times. And Christianity was spread the same way. The Crusades were not tourism to convert. One group of crusaders, men with swords on horseback, got tired halfway between the Pope's blessing and the infidels in the Holy Land. So they had to abandon the mission. But they huddled and agreed they had to slaughter some non-believers before heading home. So in some Balkan town, they found a neighborhood of Jewish families. So the songs and the scenes of peace at this time are a dream, but not our reality. We have to keep dreaming. The world is exploding, hemorrhaging in at least two places, and America is deeply divided over what to do because we are also at war among ourselves. The origin stories of the religions we know tell us miracles happen. Hanukkah tells us lamps got lit when the oil should have run out. Janet here, who is our worship whisperer, tells us don't forget to check the oil. I used to tell my daughters that when they got a car, but that was something else. More than one guest minister here has told me he or she didn't know the hard part of the service would be getting the chalice lit. And both Judaism and Christianity begin with birth stories. And the birth stories were written way after the births, Moses and Jesus. So they are stories with meanings about what those figures, Moses and Jesus, came to mean. The babies had to be rescued, and the religions that look back to them would be about rescue. The point remains, miracles happen. I believe in miracles. I may not know what I believe in on any given day, but I have loved enough cats and babies and women, maybe the order there isn't what it should be, however imperfectly, still enough to know I believe in miracles. We got Jews and Muslims to sit in a circle in Heston Hall and talk and listen to each other. Miracles have to start somewhere. Not much is known about Jewish origins except the mythology, the stories that got written. I learned in college that the word Hebrew came from Habiru, meaning wanderer, wandering tribe. The narrative, the storyline of the Judeo-Christian tradition is all about tribal wars and occupation and captivity. I chose this morning's hymns to highlight this. The world cries out for peace, but the history and the present are anything but. Jewish history began with brothers and tribes fighting. Most religions start with myth stories. The Jewish story in Genesis, the beginning, is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons. And the baby Joseph was favored by Jacob. The little one usually gets favored. Does that happen? Doesn't happen in your family. Anyway, and so the brothers ganged up and sold him to a tribe. And the tribe took him into Egypt and sold him to the Pharaoh's officer, Potiphar. And Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him. I was going to say, how could she help herself? He looked just like Charlton Heston. But I think that was Moses, not Joseph, right? I think it was. Anyhow, and so he ran from the household, and she claimed just the opposite. So Joseph lands in jail in Egypt, but has the gift of interpreting dreams, which gift the Pharaoh discovers and needs. So he elevates Joseph to a cabinet position. Then all his brothers et al. Arrive in Egypt to escape a drought and death in their tribal land. And Joseph forgives their sibling history and provides for them. This refugee group in Egypt thrives and grows until the story changes with the verse, "A Pharaoh arose who didn't know Joseph, and taught the Egyptians to be afraid of this foreign element tribe and make it hard for them to survive." And you know the story, thanks to DeMille. The tribe goes home to uproot the tribes who were there. It becomes a story, a myth of providence and chosenness, but it's a story of warring tribes and kingdoms. Now, fast forward to the time of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, and it's a time of Roman occupation. And again, it becomes a story of providence, a child's birth protected by deity, and guided escapes from Roman governors who would deal harshly with any perceived contender for their hold on power. So the season of yearning for peace, praying for peace, and singing for peace has come again, but the background is grim. Pictures from Ukraine and Gaza tell us dream and reality are just still far apart. It's hard to look at, and it's hard to look away from what is happening in Gaza today. As awful, as barbaric as the attack of Hamas was against Israel, the people of Gaza do not deserve awful and barbaric for the rest of their suffering lives. We need to be both pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian, and anti-terrorism. Again, both, whether it's from Hamas, who have taken horror to new heights and lows, paragliding, machine guns in the air, and humiliating rapes on the ground, or the Jewish settlers who have been taking the little bit of land the Palestinians were given, called the West Bank. Wars of religion are usually centered on land. America came to be, in good part, because of Catholic versus Protestant in Europe, especially the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648. Our founders knew what established religion led to: endless bloodletting in the name of someone's deity. Now, this is an aside, but it gets to my topic, war and religion. For the last 25 years of my career up north, before we retired down here in 2006, I had fairly big Methodist churches. So for Mother's Day, I told them what you've heard from me, maybe you would add ad nauseum. I told them the Methodist Church and others do not recognize Mother's Day as a religious theme. The Methodist Church calls the day the Festival of the Christian Home. I never tackled that theme either. But it meant something on family life and struggles of family life for the sermon theme. Many churches did that. A rose to the newest mom, a rose to the oldest mom, a rose to the most productive mom. I didn't, but I had to do something. I got the idea on that day, invite all the men present and willing to come up to the front and form a semicircle in the front and serenade all the women with 2 or 3 hymns. They sang, "Rise Up, O Men of God," and the one the men and the women really loved, the Battle Hymn of the Republic. I want to read you a couple verses of that. I thought, do I dare ask the men to come up here and sing? But then I thought maybe I don't dare. But anyhow, these verses stick to my mind. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. The last verse. He is coming like the glory of the morning on the wave. He is wisdom to the mighty. He is honor to the brave. So the world shall be his footstool, and the soul of wrong his slave. Our God is marching on. All governments draft the deity to bless whatever war. That Mom's Day chorale was one of the most popular things I did. For 25 years, across 4 churches. And if you think my telling you this has a pinch of cleansing confession to it, you're right. What could possibly change the nightmare we are seeing on 2 borders? Hurting, killing, large numbers of innocents, of children on the Ukraine-Russia border and on the Gaza-Israel border. Oh, wait, there's another nightmare at our border. Yes, but not today. I can only weigh 2 nightmares at a time. Last week, an African-American Baptist theology professor at Wheaton College, Illinois, Esau McCauley, wrote an op-ed, "The theological truth we must press during war. The theological truth we must press during war." However Baptist he is, It sounded mightily UU. During the Vietnam War, Dr. King saw the tremendous danger of sacrificing morals for pragmatics. Sacrificing morals for pragmatics. After reflecting on the tremendous loss of innocent life in Vietnam, he, King, said, "The casualties of principles and values are equally disastrous and injurious. Indeed, they are ultimately more harmful because they are self-perpetuating. If the casualties of principle are not healed, the physical casualties will continue to mount." So Macaulay continues, "After the horrible events of October 7, over 2,000 evangelical leaders issued a statement correctly condemning the actions of Hamas. They asserted Israel's right to self-defense and affirmed the people of the Middle East had dignity and personhood. But that statement did not speak explicitly how that personhood ought to affect the conduct of the war. I would have liked to see the group outline how the humanity of all those involved places moral limits on military actions during wartime." A statement released by the National African American Clergy Network, on the other hand, condemned the attack on Israel by Hamas, but also directly addressed the suffering of the people of Gaza. It called for humanitarian pathways and aid, including food, shelter, and medical help for civilians. The evangelical and black church statements evoked the just war tradition and the right to self-defense, but only the latter tied that tradition directly to the protection and rescue of the innocent. Now this is his conclusions, Macaulay. "I am not suggesting that members of the clergy turn sermons into glorified MSNBC or Fox News segments. I don't think they should use God to launder political ideas gleaned from elsewhere. But if we really believe God values the lives of all civilians, then we ought to say so in our sermons, in our conversations, and in our prayers. We ought to follow the events of the war and comment on them through the lens of protecting the vulnerable. We should encourage people to do what our faith tells us to do over and over, which is to see the humanity in everyone, even our enemies. To see the humanity in everyone, even our enemies." Now, doesn't that sound like a UU principle to you? Back of the bulletin, number 1. All nations know how to pick up swords. They don't need encouragement to do so, but they may need help finding ways to put them away. End of. Thank you, Esau Macaulay. What miracle might we hope for, pray for, work for this year, for Christmas? Shooting and bombing can't be surgically accurate enough, so they have to stop. It would be a miracle if we Americans learned to respect people of differing political persuasion. It would be a miracle if we learned to see the humanity in people, invaluable humanity, before we fixed on define people by how different they are. So yes, next Sunday is Christmas Eve, all-day Sunday. So regular worship at 10:30 and a brief gathering at 5:30. We sing some carols, we tell some stories, and we hold a candle quietly after we sing and hum Silent Night. We do familiar, comforting things and hope for unfamiliar breakthroughs when it's life and death for so many vulnerable people. We have to. Closing 225. Stand if able, hymn number 225, all the verses. There's the fourth verse. Wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within the side, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act of prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come with us from. Please be seated. Before these closing words, just a reminder that we are having a bake sale and refreshment time following the service, so please find your way to the other room and enjoy. And again, thank you to these wonderful musicians who have delighted us so much today. Now, I close with these words from Paul Robeson. I think you've heard his voice. I'll just read them rather than sing them. Sorrow will one day turn to joy. All that breaks the heart and oppresses the soul will one day give place to peace and understanding, and everyone will be free. Paul Robeson. Amen, may it be.
For our recessional music, we will have a duet with Catherine Warren, who teaches Sonia Chen piano. And I'm delighted to bring them here to give you joy.